Welcome back, everybody. I am very excited, like every week, to be back with you this week. And you know what? Today is going to be very, very special because the topic we're going to cover is looking after your tribe. Yes, looking after your tribe. A tribe can be a circle of inner friends. It can be your family. It can be both. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm quite human and I have a regular human interaction on this planet, in this universe right now. And because I'm human, things happen in your life. And I'm sure that you have similar experience, unless you are not from this planet. So we regularly are faced with challenges within our tribe. Things go wrong and events happen, and those events shape your life either forever or you just integrate those changes in your life. And I'm sure you that are listening are high performance people. You want to become the best version of yourself, and it is not easy to find the balance with family and your friends and your tribe and work, driving a career, driving your business, and still getting that balance right. So today we're going to talk about a topic that is close to my heart. So guess what? I have a famous saying. I don't know where I heard it, or maybe it was an original idea that came to me, and all ideas do come to us. They are not our own. But I like saying that when you are 75-year-old, your work colleagues, your business, head of the business, your manager, the company that you work for will probably 99 out of 100 times not come and visit you and ask you, "Hey, Christo, how's it going with the kids? How's it going with the grandchildren?" That's your job, to look after your tribe. Now, this week's topic about looking after your tribe is very, very personal in a specific season in my life at the moment. So I might get a little bit emotional, but I'm actually celebrating the death of a friend of mine, a very close friend, one of my very, 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 very best and closest friends' dad. That was also my friend. We lost him. He transitioned 2 weeks ago, and it really knocked me really, really hard, in that I could feel my best friend's pain like I've never experienced pain, the loss of a loved one. And there is so much happening in his life and our lives and what we are doing together that it impacted us tremendously, and it still does. And when we were faced with losing his dad, losing my friend, losing somebody in our tribe, we had to make very important decisions as to what we prioritize and how do we prioritize, and what do we continue doing and what do we stop doing. But we were very, very clear that our tribe becomes ahead of our business. It's not more important than our business. And so we had to prioritize various things. So I'm wondering about you. How is it going with your priorities, looking after your tribe? You see, it is life, it is human that we get it wrong at times. And if you're not getting it wrong, then you're not human, you're not part of this planet. And we have to find ways how to prioritize and how to deal with life and our tribe and deal with it effectively so that we can still be effective at work and still be a high performer at work. So I thought I'd share with us the way I prioritize my life in 5 ways. And it does have reference to an earlier podcast that we did about, more than a year ago, on the 5 priorities. How do I prioritize and balance? But it was particularly important it is particularly important in this time of my life. And these 5 are very simple. So I use my hand and it's easy for me to just explain it. It's 5 things. It's my faith or my value system comes first, then my relationship with my wife, then my relationship with my children, then work, my career, my businesses, and finally my free time. And that free time or hobbies and sport and whatever that is, other family members, not as your immediate family, your immediate children, or your very close children and your partner, but really about the fact that you have to prioritize in that sequence, and that has worked for me for a very long time, and it's enabled me to actually find the balance and still, after 30 plus years of being married, still married to the same partner, an amazing wife, and also being in a relationship with my children, which by the way, I've lost them, for a large part, probably for 5 to 6 years, we drove apart. No longer, maybe 7 years, we drove apart, and we had to rework that relationship, because it is that important to us that we have to be 80 years old and still want our children to come and visit us, and their children to want to have a relationship with us, not to be forced to be with us, but that our tribe still see that we add value to their lives and that they enjoy spending time with us. So how do we do this? So what is the system that so I've mentioned the 5. So let's start with number 1, your value system or your faith, whatever you want to call it. Now for me, that has always been my grounding, and it still is. And I am a person of faith, and my relationship with my Creator is the most important thing that governs my life. The decisions I make, the yes and no's, the lies I refuse to tell, the integrity I want to have in the business, being able to keep my word. My value system is my number 1 priority. Now, I don't always get it right, and I don't spend as much time meditating and having quiet time as I want to, but I really value the fact that I am grounded in a value system that is extremely important for me. So if I go into business with somebody, or there's a business deal, or while I was still working for businesses and not having my own businesses, but when I had a boss, if that business would ask of me to do unethical things, that's it. I just don't, it's not. I'm not going to want to work with that company anymore, because my value system comes first. If I'm asked to lie on the report, or lie about financials, or do something unethical that is against my value system, I would refuse. And if that means I would lose my job, that's okay, because I believe that the next door will open, and that's how I prioritized my very first thing. So that is my first priority, and I'm not willing to make any compromises there. It also means that value system, or my relationship, my faith relationship, is more important than the next most important thing, which is my wife, my life partner. and we call each other partners for eternity. We have got a very strong bond for 33 years, and 35 years. I don't know, 35 years, but we've been married for 31, and she comes second. And the reason she comes second and not the children, and if you've got children in the home and they're small and they haven't left home like ours have already, your children are not more important than your partner. And why I say that is that if you and your partner don't have a solid, romantic, wonderful relationship, and you don't spend enough time with one another and fulfill each other in the languages of love, and you don't have friendship there, you've got nothing to offer the kids, because they have got no foundation. They have got no frame of reference to actually direct their own lives. So they struggle. They struggle because they see you struggle. And while raising our kids, we definitely made it clear to them that, as partners, we are more important. We love them more than we love them. It's a difficult one. Maybe that's a tough one. We may have said that a few times to them, that we love each other more than we love them, but we prioritize each other more than we prioritize them. They knew that we had to have our times together, maybe weekends away, them with the grandparents, so that mom and dad can, still be in a very strong relationship. Until even today, they understand that. And now that one of them is already married, and it's clear to us that they look and they have seen this relationship work for many years. Now, I'm not saying we are the best couple in the world, but we certainly follow a recipe that works for us. And it's important for me that everybody knows my wife is more important than my children are to me, but also then the next one is my children. When I remember distinctly, there was one event where we were in a budgeting cycle, and it was very important meetings, and we were going to present the next budget cycle. And I was responsible for that. And my daughter was in a motor vehicle accident. She had a motorbike scooter in high school, and somebody bumped her, and I got the phone call and was just about to go into the meeting. And I was very fortunate to have a leader like Gerrit van Rensburg at the time that said, no, you need to be with your family. But even if he didn't allow me to do that, I would have left in any event, even though it was budgeting, because at that moment, my daughter needed me more than work does. And it was important for us as a tribe to be there with her when she was basically, when the ambulance took her to hospital. And that is it. Now, I'm not saying you look for excuses not to be at work and, find any excuse to say my family is more important than work. If you don't have a job, you don't have a means to provide for your family. Or if you don't have a business, you don't have a means to provide for your family. So it is important to give that a priority, but not at the expense of your family. And so that is basically the one that has been talking to me the most over the last 2 weeks, is the fact that our tribe have had significant loss, and our tribe is struggling with everything that goes around losing a loved one and going through what we are going through. All right, everybody, every week there is a bit of a break in between, and this week specifically, I just want to give you a heads up on what's happening. So we're taking a bit of time off from the weekly new podcast, new guests on the show, because of this season in our lives that we are going through as a tribe, through a difficult period, and we have to balance things, and we have to look after one another with what is happening at the moment. So if you don't get what you think fresh material is every week, so I'm not going to apologize for that. We're going to do our best to provide you with fresh material every week. but it won't be a fresh podcast. When I say fresh, a guest every week, or myself addressing a new topic or talking about a new topic every week. We just need a couple of weeks to sort out our tribe and do the best we can to support to provide the support that's needed, and just get back to normal business. So thanks for understanding, and thanks for also looking after your family and looking after your tribe. All right, so we are back with the fourth and the fifth one. The last two is prioritizing work, and then the last one, our free time. So when it comes to work, it is extremely important to look after your job and do it really well. And you are doing it well. You are listening to this podcast. You are one of those people that are, being the best version of yourself and developing and growing. But it is important to look after your career and your business, whatever you are involved with in terms of living your purpose and generating income for your family and creating a life of wealth. And I do want to just inspire you to keep doing that and find your passion, find the things in your career that you are passionate about. I recall right in the beginning when one of the first podcasts was telling my story about how I ended up in mining, and I didn't want to be in mining. It was merely a way to pay off university debt because I gave up my studies, and I needed to get a job to do that. And when I was a shift boss or shift supervisor for about 2 years, I really wanted to get out of mining, and I just couldn't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And now, as 25 years later, I love every moment doing mining. I enjoy the people. And what I've found is I've discovered that there are certain elements of our careers and our jobs, and each career has that there are specific things that resonates with your personality. And in my case, it was people, it was leadership. It's something that gives me a lot of joy, is working with people and leading teams and enabling them and supporting them to be successful. So I found my love for mining through the people. And I really want to urge you to, discover your strengths, discover what you're the best at. There are various tools out there. Like, I love the Working Genius. There's a podcast on that. There's a book on the Working Genius. It helps teams to discover themselves. There's the Marcus Buckingham Strength Finder. And I'm not being paid by, announcing these tools. So Marcus Buckingham is very well known worldwide in terms of the Strength Finder tests. And these tests are for free. I mean, you really can discover what you're best at and how you will function, how you bring those natural gifts into your job every day, that you can have energy and joy and satisfaction in living your purpose and doing your career and doing what you are doing. Even if this phase of your career is not the end goal for you, even if this is, you may have a waiter job, or you may do something for an extra income just because you are working towards that dream. That's great. You can apply these principles in any job, any career. You can find joy in anything you do. My dad, and he's passed away, he's transitioned. Looking forward to having some chats with him once I transition. But my dad was a brilliant electrician. He was not by choice an electrician. His dad forced him to leave school at the age of 16 and then get a job get an apprenticeship as an electrician. He wanted to become a medical doctor, and that was his passion. But you know what? I once on a vacation school holiday, he was in this vehicle that they did oil transformers, or that they would do lab testing for the oil quality of transformers in these big mining companies. And he would he would have this truck, and at the back of the truck there was this laboratory type thing. It fascinated me. But on this one school holiday, I was with him and we traveled the country, and I went with him to the different mines where he was actually servicing these transformers and doing his thing with the oil and the electrician thing. And growing up next to him, seeing what he did and how he did his job, whenever my dad would do an electrical job, whether it was wiring a house or just doing wiring at our home, with some do-it-yourself project, he was absolutely pedantic about the standard of his job. And when he did an electrical job on a mine or at a site somewhere, people would say, that's Joe Horn that did this. You can see that he was here because his cabling was always neat and tidy, and it looked the part. He was a professional electrician, and he had pride in what he did. But it wasn't what he wanted to do for his whole life. But he was very good at that, and he took pride in that. And that's something that I've taken away from my dad, that, even today, when I'm doing something, I'm thinking about, what is it? What's your brand? What do you wear? What's your brand? When people interact with you, when they see what you're doing, what is your brand? How strong is your brand? Even if it's not the job that you feel that you're called to do. Which brings us to the last one, which is your free time and your hobbies. And you have to make time for that. It comes last, so you have to prioritize, but you have to make time for yourself and your rest of your other family members. Whatever your free time, whatever you use it for, use it wisely, because there's a limited supply of hours in the day, but you need to have that me time, and you need to have that time that injects energy in your soul. For me, it's doing sport. I love participating in sport, and I love being active. It's not something for fitness and health. It's something I really, really enjoy doing. And that's my hobby. I do that over weekends, and my wife, and we are partners in that. So, and in the week as well. But find your free time, dedicate it properly for yourself to recharge your battery in whatever way you need to. But there was also a time in my life when I actually had the priority wrong, where this free time, and in this case, it was training for a major endurance event, and it took a lot of hours in the week to train for. And I was in a technical role, and I didn't always do my best at work, because I was at times I had to leave normal hours. I wouldn't work extra hours, but I would leave normal hours as opposed to working a little bit extra when we had tough times, just because I had to do a second training session for the day. And I did neglect my job for probably a 3-month period. That was not right. That wasn't right. Afterwards I felt guilty, and I knew why, because I wasn't prioritizing work in front of my free time. And that's not right. You have to dedicate your time at work when you need to do it. And I didn't give my best at work, and whether it was crunch time, I was selfish about my training schedule. And when I actually did another event similar to that a couple of years later, and this time around, I said, I will not sacrifice my job for this event. I will still deliver a high quality job. And so that's the summary for this week. Are you getting the priorities right? So when things happen in your tribe, are you giving them the time they need? Or are you having work as an excuse while they are desperate and there's a crisis? Are you spending more time in your hobbies and what you are doing in your free time and not getting your work quality sorted out? Or is that hobby taking preference of your quality of your tribe? You know, are you spending so much time in your hobby that you are not giving the attention to your partner or your children? Are you losing your moral standards, your value system, because of your priorities are not right? So that's really what I'm on about this week. So to recap, my first priority is my value system, then my wife, number 2, then my children. Well, we have a grandson on his way. I'm super excited. Go Heinrich. And Arlene, our new daughter. Very excited about that. But then your family, your children. Okay, I've diverted there down a rabbit hole. Then your career or your business. And finally your free time. So if you get those priorities right in that order, I think it works for me. I hope it works for you. Thanks for listening this week. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your mining. Cheers. The Mining Coach is part of Kamena Consulting. If your company is in need of technical study support, due diligence studies, business improvement projects, or business and senior leadership coaching, why don't you contact us directly by clicking on the show notes and following the links that will connect you to us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your mining. Cheers.